Welcome to the INFOWARS Nightly News. I'm David Knight. It's Monday, December 30th, 2013, and here are our top stories.
Tonight, suicide bombings follow Saudi threats to attack Russia. Then, what the mainstream won't tell you about Obamacare. And why do Americans love war criminals? That's next on the INFOWARS Nightly News.
Watching real men and women out there, doing space jumps and all of it. I mean, that's what I want, not men in tights slapping each other on the ass. Excuse me.
Well, for a second consecutive day, there's been a bombing in Volgograd. That's formerly Stalingrad. Yesterday, on Sunday, there was a suicide bomb that killed 17 people. Today, there was a bomb on a trolley that killed 14. And the question is, who's behind this? Why is this happening? Is it because the Muslims don't like Russians? Are they angry about the Olympics? These are the conspiracy theories that the mainstream media is putting out because nobody has taken credit for this. So they say no one has immediately claimed responsibility for the bombings in Volgograd, but it came several months after an obscure Chechen leader, and they have his name here. It's Doku Umarov. Have you heard of him? I haven't heard of him. But we have heard of somebody else who has a lot of influence, not only with the Chechens, but with Saudi intelligence. That's the head of the Saudi intelligence, Prince Bandar. And Paul Joseph Watson pointed this out. He said that in August, we had an article that was carried by a transcript, actually, from a Middle Eastern news agency, Al Monitor. And what they said was that during a closed-door meeting between Prince Bandar and Putin at the beginning of August, and if you remember at the time, Bandar was headed all over the world. He was going back and forth trying to build a coalition for war against Syria, for war against Assad. And of course, Russia was trying to stop that. Russia was on the side of Assad. And so Bandar had a closed-door meeting with Putin. And this is what he said in that closed-door meeting, according to the transcript from Al Monitor. He said, "I can give you a guarantee to protect the Winter Olympics next year. The Chechen groups that threaten the security of the Games are controlled by us, by the Saudis." So this was really nothing but a protection racket type of threat, the same sort of thing you would expect from some kind of a mafia leader who comes in and says, it would be awful if something were to happen to your bar here. So I think what you should do is pay me some money. That's essentially what Bandar was telling Putin. He was telling him to back off, let them go to war against Syria. That was the coalition that he was building of Israel, the U.S., and the Saudis. And so he's the head of Saudi intelligence as of 2 years ago. He was the U.S. ambassador for 18 years from Saudi Arabia. He has very close ties to the CIA. And is he really going to make good on his threat? Well, we'll see. But the Russians are not taking any chances. They are beefing up security, according to USA Today. Suicide bombing in Russia highlights Olympic security. And here's some of the things that they're doing. If you want to buy a ticket to the Olympics, you have to go online. You have to provide passport details. Contacts will allow the authorities to screen all visitors and check their identities upon arrival. But of course, they're also going to have a security zone created around that. Listen to how big this is. 60 miles along the Black Sea coast, 25 miles inland. They're going to have special troops to patrol the forest. They're going to have drones. They're going to have speedboats patrolling the coast. And they're going to have bans on cars from outside the zone starting a month before the games begin until a month after they end. Now, that's kind of curious. Even a month after the games are over, they're going to keep a lot of these security measures involved. And of course, the Russian government is no different from the American government in that respect. They're always looking for some excuse to up the security state, to up the police state. And make no doubt about it, it's going to be something that is going to affect us here in America. If there's a terrorist attack in the Olympics, they're going to use that as justification to crack down on all public sporting events in America as well. Now, the media is not just pushing their own conspiracy theories without really looking at all the data. Of course, they have their conspiracy theories. We have ours as to who is behind these bombings, and nobody has taken credit for it. But they also are pushing the agenda of the administration for Obamacare. There is no objectivity out of the big mainstream prestige media like the New York Times, the Washington Post. Instead, they are the puppets of the Obama administration. On the same day that Politico has a big piece that says that the White House looks to spread Obamacare's good news with a flood of success stories, we also see the Washington Post running a big piece focusing really on the visceral and emotional appeal of stories and anecdotes. Now, this is a story that we carried on INFOWARS. This was originally a commentary that was on Fox News, but here's the original article from the Washington Post. They say, beneath the health law's botched rollout is a basic benefit for millions of uninsured Americans. And they give us a couple of stories, but they don't look at the actual facts. They don't say how many millions of Americans have lost their insurance, how many millions of Americans have seen their costs go up by a factor of 2, 3, 4, in many cases 5 times because they're being required to buy insurance that they can't use. Single men buying maternity insurance, buying pediatric care. They're being forced to buy insurance that they can't use because this is not just a transfer of wealth from one segment of society to another segment of society. This is a transfer of wealth from everyone to the insurance companies that wrote these bills. But they start out the story like this. Adam Peterson's life is about to change. He needs surgery for a gallbladder operation, but even though he's 50, and he's a co-manager of a financial services firm, he says that he never had insurance before, but now he knows he has insurance. Why? Because he got this plastic card. And let's look at one more of these anecdotes. And of course, remember that they're trying to use these anecdotes as a way to keep you from focusing on the true cost to your pocketbook as well as to your rights and liberties. This is Dan Munstock, a 62-year-old retiree who has an income of only $15,000. Now, he got a federal subsidy, and his insurance is only going to cost him $87.57 a month. And he said it felt really good. It gave him a certain dignity to think that he's not one of the takers. But he is one of the takers. He is getting a federal subsidy. It's highly subsidized. And not only that, but taxpayers are being robbed to pay for an insurance policy that is going to have more coverage than he needs. We've seen that over and over again in these policies. And the real cost is not just the insurance premiums that people are paying, but it's the taxes that are going in to subsidize people like Dan Munstock. Now, the federal subsidy that he got is going to be paid for by $479 billion in new taxes. Now, there's about 180 some odd nations on Earth, and about 160 so of them don't even have a gross national product of $479 billion. The amount of taxes that are going to increase and take money out of the economy and send it to Obama. But of course, with the Operation Mockingbird reporting that we get from the Washington Post and others, people love Obama and they love Hillary Clinton. Look at this article from Kurt Nimmo. Americans love war criminals, according to a poll. This is a CNN poll, and we find that Clinton and Obama are the most admired people. According to CNN, Hillary Clinton is the most admired woman among Americans for the 12th straight year, according to a Gallup poll released Monday. Now, her image is really being carefully crafted by the mainstream media, and she has a lot of help from people in the NSA. We're going to tell you about that story right after the break. Stay tuned.
The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive INFOWARS Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the Info War at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. And the InfoWars Army is standing strong. Wake up your family, friends, and neighbors and break the matrix at InfoWarsStore.com. Learn the truth and spread the message of liberty with the world's most comprehensive collection of books and documentary films. Maintain a healthy metabolism and energize your body to perform at peak health with Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Protect your family and be prepared with survival foods and emergency preparedness kits. And now you can drink safe water with your own ProPure water filtration system, which removes fluoride and other harmful chemicals from your family's water supply. Save 10% with the promo code WATER. So join the revolution. InfoWarsStore.com.
Well, welcome back. Now, just before the break, we told you that Hillary Clinton has just been discovered by the Gallup poll to be the most loved woman in the U.S. for the 12th straight year. Now, she has a lot of help from the pollsters. She has a lot of help from the media. And she has a lot of help, apparently, from security services, because things that might tarnish her image as head of the State Department and the Benghazi affair were deleted from the computer of one of the investigators, one of the whistleblowers into Benghazi. His name is Robert Higbee, and he is a senior criminal investigator, the second highest ranking agent within that department's Dallas office. And he is a whistleblower talking about what happened in Benghazi. And of course, some emails, some personal email accounts of his were hacked. 4 years worth of messages, some detailing alleged wrongdoing at the agency, were deleted. Now, this follows suspicious activity at the law firm that is representing him as a whistleblower as well. They had their office broken into and some computers were stolen. Nothing else was touched. Now, the lawyer who is representing him in Dallas and his whistleblower complaint said, obviously, somebody is not happy with something he's doing, and they wanted to get that information. That's 4 years worth of emails they took out. Now, suspicious things have been happening at the law firm that is representing the whistleblower as well. They had a burglary in their office. Someone sawed through the wall, and they took several computers. Even though there were many valuable items that were left alone, the computers were taken. And although the cops arrested a petty thief for the crime, the head of the law firm said, "We feel like we're in a movie. It's nuts. It makes us wonder." Yes, we should all be wondering what's going on with the NSA. And there were new revelations that came out from Der Spiegel yesterday, pointing out that it's not just things that are happening on the internet. There's actual physical spying that is going on by the NSA. They have a special group called the TAO, the TAO, and actually it's based out of San Antonio. According to Der Spiegel, inside the TAO, documents reveal top NSA hacking unit. The Office of Tailored Access Operations, or TAO, this is the NSA's top operative unit, something like a squad of plumbers that can be called in when normal access to a target is blocked. Well, that's an interesting choice of words to call them plumbers, because they are, in fact, acting like a bunch of Watergate burglars. And their numbers are going to be growing rapidly. They're going to have 4.5 times as many of them from 2008 projected into 2015. But what's most interesting about this are two things. Number one, that the NSA is not just hacking people's computers who are connected to the internet. And the second thing is how they are interconnected already and how they're using shipping companies or the postal service. According to Der Spiegel, this is what they had to say. They say if a target person, agency, or company orders a new computer or related accessories, TAO can divert the shipping delivery to its own secret workshops. The NSA calls this method interdiction. At these so-called load stations, agents carefully open the package in order to load malware onto the electronics or even install hardware components that can provide backdoor access to the intelligence agencies. All subsequent steps can then be conducted from the comfort of a remote computer. And as they also point out, these minor disruptions to the parcel shipping business are among the most productive operations conducted by NSA hackers. So they don't even need to get to you. You don't even need to be connected on the internet. They can hack you and do it remotely if they can intercept the computer coming to you, and they're doing this fairly frequently, according to these documents that were released. Now, this isn't anything new. Remember when McAfee came to the studio and talked to Alex Jones, he said that he did this to local policemen in Belize.
Are you going to reconsider giving us a donation to the party? And I go, no, I'm not. I went to the press. At that point, I started handing out presents, computers that I had my own software on just to monitor things, okay? I gave them to all the government ministers and their secretaries and their aides, and that's how I found out what was happening.
So you gave them a Trojan horse.
I did.
You made them think they'd won. You started giving them goodies.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And just like the general public, they just take devices.
They take devices. They don't think. They don't think, well, who is this man? Well, I'm John McAfee, for heaven's sake. I invented computer security. You think I can't turn on your microphone on your laptop in your office and watch what you're doing? That's so trivial. Anybody can do it.
Well, now, in that instance, McAfee actually made a present of the spy devices, but the government is laughing about the fact that we are now buying our own surveillance devices. Now, this is from a conference that occurred today in Hamburg, Germany, and this is a conference of hackers and a technical conference about IT, and a fellow named Jacob Appelbaum pointed out that the iPhone is totally owned, totally pwned by the NSA. And this is how they do it. He revealed it on his slide here. He said they have some software called Dropout Jeep that is an implant for the Apple iPhone that utilizes modular mission applications to provide specific SIG functionality. This functionality includes the ability to remotely push and pull files from the device, SMS retrieval, that's text messages, contact list retrieval, voicemail, geolocation, hot mic, that means they can turn on your audio and listen to you. This is what we've been telling you that they've been doing, and we had that verified from William Binney that they were doing this over 10 years ago. Now it's coming out in the open. They can also turn on your camera and capture what's there, and of course get your cell tower location. Now, what's interesting is that they send this back over your text or your phone system, and they do it covertly, and they encrypt it when they send it back. And this is one of the things that I noticed when we're looking through this is that not only do they pull information from you, but they push information to you. So that means that they can store things on your computer that they may later come back and target you for illegal possession, maybe pornography, some child pornography or something. They can actually push content onto your computer. So when the government has the capacity to get into everyone's hardware and software, that's a very frightening thing, because they can not only spy on people and take away our privacy and get false positives, they can destroy people's lives who are not really engaged in any criminal activity, but they can also plant information on their political enemies, and people will believe them. And we know they have that capability to do that. Now, he also had this to say about the iPhone program at the presentation.
Do you think Apple helped them with that? I don't know. I hope Apple will clarify that. I think it's really important that Apple doesn't. Here's a problem. I don't really believe that Apple didn't help them. I can't prove it yet, but they literally claim that anytime they target an iOS device, that it will succeed for implantation. Either they have a huge collection of exploits that work against Apple products, meaning that they are hoarding information about critical systems that American companies produce and sabotaging them, or Apple sabotaged it themselves.
That's right. If it's the NSA, there's an app for that. Now, Zero Hedge, that we've been looking at covering this story, also had this headline: NSA mocks Apple's zombie customers and asks, well, if your target is using a BlackBerry, now what? And look at these pictures that they have here. They've got the pictures from 1984, and they say, who knew in 1984 that this would be Big Brother? Scroll down and take a look at that, and there's Big Brother, the iPhone. And then they scroll down to the next one there. It says, and the zombies would be paying customers. So there's a guy who's been waiting in line. He's proudly got his new iPhone. And another guy is all excited about his iPhone. That's what happens when it becomes the most popular phone. And in all fairness to Steve Jobs, I would point out that Apple did not join the PRISM program until after Steve Jobs died. Of course, Microsoft was in there from the very beginning. That tells you something right there. Now, we're going to be right back after the break. We're going to have a special report from Alex Jones, so stay tuned.
Symbols are powerful, and the globalists have hijacked the symbols of America. They've turned them into their own symbols. Well, we are restoring the idea of the true republic, not the counterfeit globalist empire, by promoting the icon George Washington and others. That's why we're rolling out an 100% made in America line of incredible pro-liberty apparel. We are repopularizing liberty We are helping fellow Americans rediscover what made this country great. We are the spirit of 1776. We are 1776 worldwide. We are all brothers and sisters in arms in the animating contest of liberty in the long march towards humanity's ultimate destiny of freedom. Visit madein1776.com today and vote with your dollars to promote truly made in America, high-quality products, and promote the ideals of liberty. Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our immune support infusion blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com.
Well, welcome back. Now, with all the talk about football this time of year, Alex Jones wants to share some special secrets about the Dallas Cowboys. But before we go to that report, I want to point out to you that you can get all of our reports as a subscriber to Prison Planet TV, even the ones that are censored on YouTube, like the report about It's a Wonderful Life and the Federal Reserve last week. And you can get that right now as a year-end special for just $5.95 a month. That's because you're getting the first 5 months free if you act before the end of the year while that special is going. Now, here's that report from Alex.
People are caught in entertainment. If one more man walks up to me on the street or at the grocery store and says, hey, you know, did you see the Cowboys last night? What'd you think? I had 3 people come up to me today and talk to me about the Cowboys last night. And I looked at all of them. I said, man, there's too much going on in the real world to care about the Cowboys. And I went and ate dinner by myself late last night after that game. And I was sitting there in a restaurant. People were coming over to me who were my listeners, but still bringing up the Cowboys losing. And I just like, man, come on. And all the reporters real serious, like they're reporting on World War III about what's happening with football. That's why we're slaves, because people are experts and men get real serious about a game. And so this morning I was watching a little bit of television and watching different NFL games and clips from them and watching grown men who are supposed to be captaining starships by this point and are supposed to be trailblazing, you know, undersea projects and are supposed to be leading and guiding their children and directing the culture and are supposed to be leaders with goals, are running around in little outfits in simulated combat with each other, slapping each other on the butts. And look, I can get into the football. I can sit there and learn all about it, and it's a male soap opera and get into it. I get it. But as our whole culture goes down the rat hole, as our government funds al-Qaeda to attack Russia, to destabilize the Olympics, as Saudi Arabia promised to do 3 months ago, because Russia won't hand over Syria to al-Qaeda, as the cashless society goes in, as the robot cars hit the streets, as they set up the robotic slave systems in France and in, of all places, China to replace humans, as the globalists announce that when they have all this in place and a robot army of drones in place, they'll release the bioweapons and start the war against humanity. I'm convinced they could release bioweapons right now and people would still go along with it and still go along with whatever they... I mean, it's horrible. We're living in a hardcore science fiction movie. And women are just incredibly, on average, so shallow, so petty, so insecure, so stupid. Men, so shallow, so insecure. Oh, Oh, take my rights. Oh, spy on me. Oh, checkpoints. Oh, proctology exams on the highway. Oh, teach my kids to rat on me because the scourge of drugs, when the government ships the drugs in, is trying to put the kids on Adderall and Ritalin and all these Prozac drugs. Oh, you know, take kids that are 5 pounds overweight from their parents and put them in government custody to put them on 7 different drugs, and where they're 5 to 7 times more likely to be sexually or physically abused. I mean, no one is looking at the threat and the fruits of this giant global government system. Let me tell you, cherry pie doesn't come out the end of this thing. Freedom and prosperity didn't come out of the end of it. What comes out of it is slavery and poverty and ignorance, and I don't want to say horse manure, because horse manure is actually useful for crops. This is beyond BS, ladies and gentlemen. Bravo, Sierra. And you've got to admit you've been cheated. You've got to admit you've been conned. You've got to admit you've been put in a lackadaisical. Television is what killed America and killed the world. The question is, can we come back from the dead? I mean, I remember being like 12 years old, walking into a restaurant, being self-conscious, what people were looking at me. I remember being a little bit like that, but I mean, now just not being self-conscious is so good. But then I see other adults that are so self-conscious. I don't care if they're rich or poor, black or white. And all of the idiosyncratic stuff and all the neurotic stuff and all of the, you know, somebody in a fancier car than yours pulling up beside you and revving it so you look over so they can look down on your car. And you just look over at them, and it's just like, you're not feeling bad because they have a nicer car than you. You're feeling bad because they literally are that shallow narcissistically that they need to feel like a horse running up beside another horse that is faster than you. And that psychology is just so base. But that's how they manipulate everybody. These are the issues that are so frustrating, to see humanity becoming more decadent, not more enlightened. I mean, I would be watching on the sat feed as the first explorers arrive on Europa. And by the way, with the technology the globalists have had, we could have been there 20 years ago, probably are. With probes, at least we know. They could already have basically giant extraction units on different planets we know have incredible resources and different planetoids, and could already have huge off-world colonies. And I would be watching the sat screens cheering on the settlers. I mean, that would be, and you'd see a ship, you know, malfunction and its reactor blow up. And that would be watching real men and women out there, you know, doing space jumps and all of it. I mean, that's what I want, not men in tights slapping each other on the ass. Excuse me. We need to be going into space. We need to be getting the life extension technology. We need to be going into the deep earth. We need to be going into the seas. And if they built up trailblazers again, if they built up leadership again, humans would want that and would support it in the market of ideas and would support corporations and governments that did it. And we could do anything together, but we need goals. Look at all the palaces and temples and pyramids built by man before, by ancients. And we are building nothing but fraud and lies. Our civilization is not building anything but deception, because the globalists already have all the advanced technology. They're really giddy about it. They're on power trips. That's the ultimate wealth, is knowledge. And they are shuttering the world from human advancement. And I don't like seeing myself and my family walled off in it.
Now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
More than 60 movies and documentaries all in one place at Infowars.com/show.